They say all men are created equal.
Shot! Master!
I pull out the Glock. Full of suffering, succotash, son.
One of your nuts is hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass.
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast with Lucy and Estelle. It's been a while. We didn't do Double or Nothing because we were both busy that weekend, and then last week we just kind of took a break to think about some other things, think about the direction we're going to take the podcast in, and just do some other stuff. So there's some exciting things coming, so stay tuned for that. But this week we are back with a Dynamite review. So yeah, we've had one episode, well, 2 episodes now since Double or Nothing, so quite a lot's gone down. A lot of changes since last time we talked, so I'm sure we'll get into all of that. Before we do though, just super quick, if you are in the York area, I will be at a show this weekend called True Grit Wrestling at Millthorpe School. If you're in the area, definitely recommend going down. Tickets are on sale now. It was such an amazing show last time and really high quality. So if you can and if you fancy it, please come down.
Yeah, you were saying the production value was like one of the best you've worked on.
100%, like probably
And like the
best.
photos you took as well, so really well put together. I haven't had a chance to go yet, but definitely want to go to a show in the future.
Yeah,
check it out.
It's so professional. I was just blown away by it. It was like we had like a monitor on the comms desk. It was like they were live editing it so they could put it out
Yeah.
straight away. Normally they actually live stream, but unfortunately the venue, the Wi-Fi's not very good. But they do live edits so they can put it up straight away afterwards on YouTube. So yeah, it's serious stuff. It's serious stuff, and it's yeah, definitely worth the money. I don't know how much tickets are. I think over a tenner, I think, so maybe a little bit on the more expensive side. Like depends what your range is for stuff like this, but I
Yeah.
definitely think it's worth it, and some really big names on the card as well. So yeah.
Which
but
match are you most looking forward to commentating? What's the standout for you?
Probably Lucy Sky versus Rio. They're both two amazing wrestlers. Rio is like, I mean both of them, but Rio especially is like so hard hitting, and she's such a badass. Not to take anything away from Lucy Sky, but I think if I'm not mistaken, Rio's just recently won the championship, so it's got high stakes on that one. So yeah, really looking forward to it. But that's my plug finished. No more plugging. Let's get into Dynamite from this week.
Yeah. So we started off with cold open, MJF straight away out of the gate. Well, actually before that, rewind. We did miss the Double or Nothing episode and the follow-up. I just wanted to say part A and then part B. So part A, Double or Nothing. Obviously, we're not going to do a full show review right now, but I do just want to say I thought the show was fantastic. I had so much fun. And I just want to say there was a criticism, I don't know if you've heard about it, but people were saying there was too much going on. It was too stacked.
Well,
And I just think that is just ridiculous. I mean, obviously you're entitled to your opinion, but I think that is just the weakest criticism you can come for is there was too much going on.
yeah.
And
I
thought it was great. I thought it was full throttle, all the cards on the table, all the stories, just full whack on the accelerator, and I thought it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of momentum from that show, and then the past 2 episodes, it seems like we've kind of pulled back on it. I don't know if that's because you saw like the online criticism, but yeah. And then part B of what I was going to say is I was quite surprised that we held off for MJF to come back this week. He didn't come back on the first show after Double or Nothing, so. And I get it, like he's got so much star power, he's got the most star power, and you want to protect him. But I thought that was a choice.
Yeah, it definitely was. I would have thought you would want to capitalize on that straight away, but it just made it more exciting this week. To your point about the criticism about it, yeah, like you say, it's such a weak criticism. It's like, oh, the show was so good, so the only bad thing you can say about it is that it was too good. Like there's too much of it. That makes no sense. I can understand like people saying, oh, if you include the pre-show, it's like a 6-hour show. Like, yeah, that is
Yeah, the
long.
length as well
Mm,
was very heavily criticized, which yeah, I understand people get fatigued. It is one of the big four pay-per-views though, so it is going to
yeah,
be quite lengthy. But yeah, I agree. There's always something that could be cut. 6 hours is too excessive. But I don't know. I didn't feel the length as much because I watched it the next day, which is very unusual for me. I always set up pay-per-views, but as we say, we were busy that week, so we kind of just watched it as of when we could.
mhm,
So it was like I got to take it at my own pace, sort of thing. I know
yeah,
you did too, and
mhm.
so it didn't feel as long. But when you're watching it live, and usually I do watch the pre-show as well. Might as well if you're staying up. So yeah, there is probably some criticism to be had there.
Yeah, but it's hard though because it's one of your biggest shows, and you want to give the people who paid for a ticket like their money's worth, and you want to put all those
Yeah,
biggest feuds in it. So, I mean, I don't mind it as much. Like when if I do rarely on an occasion stay up to watch it, I'm like falling asleep, being like, I wish this would fucking hurry up. But yeah, I don't mind it. I understand the criticism, but it's a big show. What do you expect? It's kind of I mean, fucking WrestleMania is 2 nights. It's like a thing, isn't it? Just fucking
yeah.
balls to the wall, everything. It's just the
I'd
longest
rather
show.
sit through. This is probably a controversial opinion. I'd rather sit through WrestleMania 8 hours longer than 2 nights. Personally, I think
Mm,
2 nights just dilutes it too much. I'm not a fan of the 2 night thing, and I hope that isn't something AEW does in the future because yeah, it just how can you create essentially two main events and thus diluting it like it's star power. It just I'd rather slog out, and I think that's just part of being a wrestling fan is you're gonna
yeah,
sit through long, lengthy matches and long, lengthy TV shows. That's just a part of it. But again,
yeah.
I'm not saying like don't criticize like 6 hours isn't excessive, but yeah, controversial opinion. I would rather sit through it all in one go than
Yeah, I
in
think
two
I
parts. It's like
probably
reading a book in two parts, like a movie, which I do because severe ADHD. I watch like a movie in 8 parts, but like it's a better experience going to the cinema and watching it in full. That's how it's supposed to be watched.
for sure. Well, yeah, I can see the pros and cons of both. I'm not going to go into them because that's not what we're here to do. But thinking back, I sort of miss WrestleMania being this one night really special thing, and I was
Yeah.
really excited and I stayed up to watch it, and I was tired the next day, but it didn't matter because it was worth it for WrestleMania. Instead of now, it's like, do I stay up for night one, and then not probably be able to stay up for night two, or do I,
Yeah.
etc. It's just don't know. It makes it feel a bit like to me. It used to be sort of like this made me sound really sad. It was like Christmas. It was like this is
Yeah, it's
huge,
like what is as long as it's
exciting.
one night a year, like Christmas, like you're saying, that one night a year, it's excusable. I guess, the argument is when pay-per-view length is excessively long throughout multiple pay-per-views,
Mm, yeah.
which, it kind of has been at times in AEW, but I don't know. I'm just not one to complain over it because like the match quality
Yeah,
is so high, and it just feels quite
exactly.
nitpicky to cut out. It's not like there's ever like a horrifically boring. I mean,
Yeah,
Serena Deeb, Tony Storm, but like there's never anything like absolutely horrific. Even that, it's not like horrific that I'm like, oh my god, cut it all. Like I can
exactly.
still watch it and enjoy it. But yeah, just
Yeah, I
wanted to
totally
just touch on
agree.
those criticisms, but amazing. Loved Anarchy in the arena.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely mental.
It truly was. Yeah, and as I say, MJF's return, I think those are the two big talking points, Anakin in the arena and MJF's return. And as I say, they held back on it last week and he came out and he's still committed to the new look. Again, didn't get to talk about Double or Nothing, but it seemed that he retired the old character. Is that kind of what you got as well? Because that's what I was kind of getting, that we're not going to really see like the suit and the
Mm,
Burberry scarf. I think like the Burberry is still like ingrained into his character and it was like on his t-shirt and stuff. But that version of the character is retired and we're now in MJF. I want to say 3.0 because 2.0 was kind of like the face and now we're in
mm,
like a 3.0 tweener badass stoner. Stone Cold. Stoner. Well, he was a fucking stoner this week. But yeah, like Stone Cold sort of vibe. So yeah.
yeah, and especially this week, when he was wearing the leather jacket, it was definitely sort of a bit jarring. Like he looked so different. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, just
He's
the
ripped
look.
as well.
Yeah, so ripped. Oh my
Jacked
God.
to fuck.
Yeah, the whole his aura has changed, and
Yeah.
it's gonna take some getting used to, I think. Um, but he's still sort of cutting similar promos though, so it's like he's still the same person. He's still
Oh
that same
yeah,
asshole.
definitely.
But it's nice to see that sort of subtle development and change, especially because he's been away for so long. You would
Yeah.
change after all that and everything he went through.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and as well, before we actually get into the segment, because we're going through down a lot of side roads, so I might as well just bring this up now. As you've seen, but Alicia has she's now with AEW, I believe, in a backstage interview role.
Oh,
So yeah, obviously they're
interesting.
dating.
I
So
didn't
I'm
know that.
assuming like not to say that she hasn't earned that by her own merit, because she absolutely has. But I'm sure like in the same vein of Moxie in here, there's been a few strings pulled. But
That's
that's very exciting because I really enjoy her interview style, and I think she'll do great. Like I say, so
that's
that's
great
pretty cool.
news. I didn't know that. Yeah, no. And it like
Yeah,
get some more women in, whatever role that might be. That's
yeah,
that's great. And like you say, she's good. So
yeah. So yeah, actually getting on to the segment at hand now. Um, he came down and he made a great little dig about how next week he's probably going to be wrestling some guy from Mexico or Japan, which was a clear nod to Forbidden Door, but it also felt like a clear sort of like maybe a little bit of a dig
mm, for
as
sure.
well. But
It's kind of saying what people think that it's like, oh, you shouldn't really say that
yeah,
because you're the
that
wrestler.
like self-awareness
Yeah.
sort of thing. Um, yeah, and he called out Rainmaker, Carter, Swerve, and Osprey with some cutting jabs at each of them. Carter's fat, Swerve can't talk, and Osprey's British. Um,
The
so
worst,
yeah,
three of the worst things you can be in
yeah,
wrestling. Mm.
yeah.
The
Um,
the one I picked up on most and was most excited about, like I know he just talks shit and he calls out everyone, but I was like, yes, drag down Osprey, please. This is something I want to see because
not the corny American teeth joke though.
oh, I know, but I feel like if them two got into a promo battle, it'd be so
The
easy for MJF to win, and I'm here
that's
for it.
that's the peak of it, you know. It's essentially setting out the program, which he always tends to do. He tends to lay out the story points, kind of like Copeland, of what he's going to achieve. And I think Osprey is at the end of that. Even though Swerve is world champion, it kind of seemed like he was cutting deeper into Okada and Swerve, and then Osprey for last.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what the impression I got as well. That just stuck with
because
me because he did
yeah,
it
I
last
don't
so
think
well.
he's going to beat all three. I think he's going to go into programs of all three, but I could see him, picking a win against Okada, picking a win against Swerve, maybe. I'm not necessarily saying for the belt or anything. There's a lot going on, ways they can do this. We've got the Owen coming up. Um, and he seems to be later on going to a few with Rouge. Parts are moving. We've got Osprey, Swerve at Forbidden Door. Who's
Mm,
to say that Osprey doesn't pick up the win there? So yeah, there's many ways he could go about this, but I really like the way as well he then gave credit to a few wrestlers that he did enjoy. This promo was great because it was a balance of like burying, but then also respect.
yeah, definitely.
Um, so he shouted out Kenny, Tanahashi, Cody, which was nice, and Danielson. And I really like how through beating people they achieve his respect as a
Yes.
character. Because before like the Kenny match, he was just dunking on him, like, he gave him his dues as well, but but now he's just got the utmost of respect, that handshake at the end. Um, I just really like that for his character, to be honest with you. I think it's really interesting because most people gain respect for their opponent when they get
They
beat,
get beaten
sorry.
by them, yeah.
But he does it when he beats them because it's like they've pushed him to his limit almost. And yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, me too. And I think you're right, but I also think it's sort of like his ego as well. because
Yeah.
he's like wouldn't want to bring attention to anyone who might have beaten him,
Yeah.
and he's like, so he's bringing up these people who he has beaten, but definitely like a
I can't remember if he mentioned Joe in this promo in that
no,
bit.
I
To your point.
don't think he did.
No, yeah, that you know that proves what you're saying. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I could be wrong though. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but I don't think he did.
Yeah. So super excited for those programs. It's great that he's mentioning them because that's the hot feuds that we want to see him in. And seeing as they're pulling the trigger on Osprey Swerve at Forbidden Door, again, this match could be phenomenal and we could get number 2 at Wembley, but perhaps he's wanting TK is wanting MJF in the main event again, and it's going to be against Osprey or Swerve.
What about Brian Danielson though? He ain't later
Oh,
on in the show.
Danielson. Yeah, Danielson going in for the Owen. I feel like, we're getting a little bit ahead with the other segments right now, so
Yeah,
we'll
we
definitely
are.
go into further discussion
I'm so
later.
excited about that.
Um,
Yeah.
I know, phenomenal. Uh, but yeah, Rush intervened and he came out, which was kind of unexpected but nice because I personally like Rush a lot. I think he's a great mid card, a great wrestler, puts on a great match. Um, and I really liked Max's crowd control during this because he was kind of got the crowd heated up and into like second gear with his sort of burial of characters, and
Mm,
then he was like, no, I'm serious now, and we're gonna
yeah.
have a moment of respect, and the crowd respected. And just what crowd control, and how many people can have the confidence to do that and get the
100%.
crowd to follow suit? Not
Yeah,
many. So
yeah, exactly. It reminded me, I mean, he fully did a rock bit where he was like,
yeah.
"Oh, I didn't understand you. What did you say?" And then he cut him off. But that sort of thing reminds me of something The Rock would do, or like someone like John Cena, dare I say, or like CM Punk, someone who's
Yeah.
so
A
confident.
sign of someone who's like a veteran, who's quite
Yes.
high up and has that prestige and knows they carry that prestige, and they use that to build other people up and to control the crowd, and that blend of
Yeah.
like comedy and seriousness. And he never cheapens his character. He has full
Yeah.
control all the time.
Because I reckon in that position it'd probably be quite easy just to feed off the comedy, like the crowd are laughing. Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
milk that and make it funny and not serious. But he didn't want to do that. He's like shifting it, so he's not getting that
yeah,
sort of cheap pop, I guess, and he's taking it a more serious route, but still taking the crowd with him, sort of thing. So it's sort.
yeah.
I guess it's kind of risky doing that, but like we say, it's like he's got the confidence to do it.
Mm.
Yeah, it is like a veteran thing, I think.
And it's obvious that this is a TV feud, and he's going to beat Roosh,
Mm,
and um he didn't call out Bruce during this. He called out other people who are much higher on the card. And as as someone who's watching it weekly, and fucking Mark, you know where it's going, but he is also self-aware in that, and he's like, no, I am. This is going to be short. You know it's going to be short. I know it's going to be short, but I'm going to get the best out of him. He's going to get the best out of me, and we're going to make the best of it. And I just really
mhm.
respect that. If he puts 100 into everything he does, he's just good. He's just absolutely good.
He is
Deserves every bit of praise.
100%. Right, but there's a but for
There's a
me.
but.
For me, and you can feel free to disagree. Maybe I'm wrong. I felt like and I kind of just mentioned it a little bit and brushed over it. But when Roosh cut his promo and MJF just went, I didn't catch any of that, and it was kind of like, oh, can we not like do something different other than it's a foreign person and we didn't understand what he said? Like, can we just do something different from that? Is that not a bit cheap? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know whether that was like that or like the sound quality, and then he was kind of like calling out the elite as well. But you know, it was
Yeah,
it was
because
intended to be read, I think, in like the way you're saying as well. It was cheap. He's not immune to cheap heat. I think he
no,
went for the
yeah,
line of, all the women with are dry. But
And
Yeah.
I'm not like dunking on him saying it's the worst thing ever, but it's just a little thing to me. I was just like, okay.
No, it's just overdone. It's cheap, and it's not. It wasn't needed, but they quickly picked it back up by a
Yeah.
really awesome brawl, security all over the place, and a
They
great
made
pull
it feel
apart,
really
and then a
big.
great back together. Felt real. Roosh has a great angry face, I think.
He was
Um,
so intense. Like
yeah,
he just
very
looked
intense.
so, yeah, like you say, a great angry face. Looked so angry the whole time.
Yeah, maybe angry by that cheap heat from earlier. Um, so after that, we get a Roddy little promo. He's gonna be in the main event of Dynamite against Swerve Strickland. And he just sort of had his typical motivational. I believe he was running, working out.
Yeah.
His Roddy Strong segment. So just yeah, I like. I'm always a fan of a little the opponent of the challenger. I guess them having a little vignette at the start of the program. They tend to do that a lot for the main events, and it works. It keeps them in your mind and just sort of builds up the hype. Um, so yeah, I think we're getting a bit more Roddy with the main event anyway. But
Mhm.
then we got Orange Cassidy coming out to Where Is My Mind? He's not coming out to Jane anymore.
Yeah.
In his depression era.
Love that for him. Not really, but I like the
Yeah.
song, so
We had a little cheeky four-way with Kyle O'Reilly, Jay Lethal, which I thought was a bit random, and Rey Phoenix, which I also thought was a bit random, but pop off. Um, it was a really great, frenzied four-way, pretty chaotic but fun nonetheless. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really have much detailed notes for any of the matches this week's Dynamite. They were just
mm,
not to be that person, but they were just good. They were just all right. They did the job.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
I
that
had fun.
very similar to me. Like I didn't
It
I
wasn't
enjoyed,
detailed character work going on in
yeah.
them. It was just get into the pin in
Yeah.
all of them.
I enjoyed
So
watching them all.
yeah,
But like you say, there's nothing like
no
crazy
standout
detail.
moments
Mhm.
really. But I guess the standout moment was Phoenix picking up the win with a roll up to Lethal, which I was very surprised at.
I
I was like, what? I didn't think
as soon
Lethal were gonna win, but
as
I
soon as it
thought it would either have
happened,
been Cassidy or Kyle, to be honest with you.
I sort of had a hunch that Orange was going to win just because of
Yeah.
him, just his momentum at the moment, and I kind of hoped that he did. But I guess he's still got his feud going on to focus on. But as soon as that happened, I was just thinking, I can't. Estelle's going to be reacting to this in a confused manner. Like I could just picture it in my
Yeah,
head.
I was very confused because I feel like Phoenix at the minutes with Death Triangle. I don't know if Pac's just gone back to Newcastle now. I don't know. I don't know if he did pick up an injury during that match. I didn't
No,
don't
I
remember
don't
seeing
know.
the report coming out, but he did land pretty badly.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't.
But then it might have been selling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or whether
He's
like
very
he's
good at
just
selling.
yeah, whether he's just like having his little hiatus moment. But it seemed to be that sort of the thing at the minute, so it just seemed a bit random for him to even be in the match. I know he has a long history with the international title, and he's a great wrestler. I love the Lucha Bros of all my heart. I think they're very entertaining, and it was very sad, when he had to relinquish the belt when he got injured. But it just was a bit out of nowhere. But hey, I believe he's got a title shot against Osprey next week.
Hmm. Yeah.
Clearly he's not going to win. And I guess, like, then when you see the big picture, like, oh, it makes sense. We need someone who's going to put on a good TV match next week. That's really all it is to it.
Mm. Yeah, you're not
So
watching
let's
it
have a fun
like,
match this week and a fun match next week. And that's all it was there for. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, you're not watching it because you're like, oh, what an insane storyline. I wonder who's going to win. You're watching it because like this is going to bang. It's going to be a sick wrestling match, and that's all right sometimes. That's great, in fact, because
Yeah,
why wouldn't you
that's
want
fine.
two amazing wrestlers just going at it? Like,
That's
for a
fine.
title.
It's just a bit confusing.
Yeah, it was confusing that he won. I felt the same way, but
And then when you put it in context, you're like, oh, okay, like yeah,
mm,
Osprey Phoenix, it will be a great match next week.
yeah,
And out of those four, I mean, all of them would have put on a great match for Osprey, but yeah, with those four for a TV match, yeah, Phoenix makes the most sense, and you know, it makes sense to promote some more of your luchadors. You're going up to Forbidden Door, CMLL, having a presence on that pay-per-view. Yeah, it
mm,
all makes sense, but it just took a few minutes for my mind to sort of tick over.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was a few steps to get into the bit where you're like, oh yeah, I see.
I see. And then the post-match, Callis and Beretta came down. Callis hands Beretta a chair. Cassidy produces a chain. So then we have the dastardly Statlander intervening. She gets in the middle of him. Don't fight, pick me girl vibes, which, you know, she's been doing even in a face era.
Mm,
But Stokely comes out and he's like, don't mess with Statlander. And then she just lands a cheap shot on Cassidy. That was fantastic. Willow comes out, but Stat retreats. And I love the visual of Stokely piggybacking on Statlander.
yes, yeah,
They're
me
a really
too.
great duo. Obviously, he's been working with her before and with Willow, but you know, them two, I think to turn a heel, they needed a mouthpiece, and Stokely's a great mouthpiece, and it works really, really well. And
Yeah,
clearly, you
completely
know,
agreed.
Cassidy didn't win the title because they're still furthering the Trent Beretta storyline.
Yeah, yeah, makes complete sense, doesn't it? It's entertaining. Chris Statlander
Yeah.
is great as a heel, and can I just say, like, when she turned on Willow, I was like, ouch, that shit hurt. Like, I just maybe I'm naive.
Yeah.
I always do this in wrestling where I don't think someone's gonna turn heel. I'm like, no, they're so wholesome, it's not gonna happen. And then it happened. I was like,
Yeah, it was
no.
genuinely a heartbreaking heel turn, and it wasn't super. I mean, it was a little bit like you knew, but it wasn't super predictable, and it was yeah, it's genuinely heartbreaking, and it's just upsetting to watch. And most heels, you know, when you reach our old age, they're just cool and they're badass, but with her, it's like, oh, you punched Orange Cassidy, what? Like,
Yeah, it's
it's
horrid.
like heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. That really did get me. I was really shocked when
Yeah,
that
me
happened.
too. And then when she joined Trent after he'd like before been calling her a bitch and stuff, and you thought
Yeah,
they sort of burnt a bridge between them, and because of the Monet Willow match, you'd have thought Willow would have turned heel. But
yeah.
it was kind of like a less predictable route. So yeah, I do want to point out though that one of the concerns I have is I believe that the Callis family is being spread way too thin, and I later on Takeshita did sort of have a little cameo, but I personally think that Callis is being pulled towards the best friends verse. They've sort of got their own little thing going on over here. And I don't really mind with the great thing about a stable is naturally storylines will interweave and you get this great sort of dynamic product where people are crossing over. But I think because the best friends verse is so self-contained, you're not really getting that. And then Takeshita, Hobbs, um, Cal Fletch, right?
That
Cal Fletcher, right?
guy.
That lad, right? You fucking know what I mean. My point being, it kind of seems like they're sort of like an afterthought. It's sort of diluted the Callis
Yeah,
family down,
yeah.
and I'd just rather we just go with the momentum and we cut Takeshita loose. And yeah, I agree. Alone, he probably is going to need some kind of mouthpiece, maybe like a Stokely, maybe something, a manager of some sort. But I'm sure you could work something out because I just think it's doing no favors right now, and it's just yeah, it's just spread too thin.
Yeah, it's difficult. There's so many of them, and there's so many things going on. Like you say, I agree that that can be a good thing, but at the moment, yeah, it's easy to forget about like Takeshita and stuff, which is a real shame. So I think you're right. It's just like there's no real focus. So then
The focus is with the best friends. That's where
well,
it's demanding focus. That's where the story
yeah,
is. Um, and you know, then you can go with that. You can be like Takeshita and the rest feeling like they're being neglected, they're not being taken seriously. Okay. So then we got one of multiple segments following Chris Jericho, the Learning Tree. I can't remember how much we spoke about the gimmick. I think it was during its like original sort of inception, and we said that we liked it. How are you finding the gimmick? Because 2 weeks
It's
have sort
kind
of gone
of,
by.
yeah, it's been a while. It's treading the line of being funny and being genuinely annoying. And I know the point of it is to be
Yeah.
annoying, but I was kind of maybe the first segment on this show, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of funny, but wasn't like genuinely laughing. You know what I mean? You know when you just kind of like, oh, I guess that's funny, but you're not actually laughing. By the third time, I was like, okay, that's enough. I've heard enough.
Yeah, it never really went anywhere. And I was kind of expecting it to maybe be like the consistent thread throughout the night, and maybe I didn't know how he'd come out for the main event, but there would be some kind of payoff for these segments. But the payoff just seemed to be that the Learning Tree stable is gonna feud with the Acclaimed.
Hmm.
But yeah, I liked the first segment. He came out, with patronized the driver, the cameraman, and I really love the act. Especially now they've got Brian Keith. I think it's just a great act. Like Jericho, playing that meta version of his character. Big Bill, I believe Redwood, being the supporting branch. And then the bad apple, Brian Keith, who I think is the standout and to me is the comedy of it. Just being like, why are you not respecting him?
He
It
made
is
it,
great.
yeah, he made
It's
it
golden.
funny.
But it's not the act, but there was no real, like I said, no real payoff. And so it was like you were waiting on something and it just kind of got more awkwarder as it sort of went on throughout the show.
Yeah, exactly. And
And like you say, treading that like go away heat, which is like meta, but then is it like kind of losing its self-awareness? It's kind of like a paradox to think about, you know? It kind
it
of hurts my
is.
brain.
It is. I saw this thing on Twitter. It was like the Chris Jericho cycle, where it's like 4 points on this circle, and it was like, "This is shit, Jericho, go away." And then it was, "Oh, this is maybe kind of funny." To this is funny because he's embracing it, and it's great. To this is getting annoying. Back up to this is annoying. Go away, Chris Jericho, and that's the Chris Jericho
We're just in
circle.
a loop, yeah,
Yeah,
in a
where it,
vortex.
yeah. So I don't know, like
It just
it
needed some editing
yeah,
and
yeah,
some
just.
direction and someone to say, this thing about wrestling freedom. It's a great idea. It's great creativity, and I don't want to knock it. I'm genuinely enjoying it. I genuinely think it is funny, and like I said, Brian Keith is the saving grace of it.
Yeah.
But there needs to be someone to sort of say, right, let's just do one segment where we follow you, and then you go. You can still sort of have all the little bits, but just contain it into one, and then have the Acclaimed altercation
Mm,
at the end. Um,
yeah. If it was,
just
yeah,
something
just
like that, because
contained into one,
it
yeah.
made you believe there was going to be something big at the end, the way it was like we're going to keep checking in with him. So after that we got a Willow interview with Renee, and she expressed her disappointment and her sadness at Statlander's betrayal, and she kind of finished it seeming like she was out for revenge, which I enjoyed. That she could go down the route of mopey, sad, hurt baby face. My friend betrayed me, and that, but she's keeping her edge, and I really like that because I've really enjoyed seeing that edge in a character. So
Yeah,
I
me
like that a
too.
lot.
100% agree.
And Cassidy came out and he gave a little small sign of gratitude. They've sort of got like a little alliance. She's just collecting friends. She had Copeland, now she's got Cassidy.
Collecting them
She's a
like
good one.
Pokemon.
Yeah, like Pokemon. But yeah, it was pretty good. Then the Christopher Daniels came out, and I wanted to ask you. I really like that they've put him on screen as an authority figure. Um, I know people don't like authority figures. I think it's a fine line. I think when it becomes a bit formulaic.
Hmm.
Tonight you're going against the Undertaker, like a bit like that. Like it's just, oh, we're gonna do a mixed tag.
Yeah.
Like you were saying before the go home show, it's a bit eye rolling, but I do like an authority figure, and I think him being the authority figure kind of balances out the top. The show is currently heel dominated by the Elite and the Patriarchy. And before that, we had Undisputed Kingdom sort of flittering about like a fruit fly. So we've sort of got like this heel domination at the minute. So it's nice to sort of have like that good force and just yeah, I like a bit of authority. So yeah, what do you think about him in this role?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I was going to basically say the same thing. Like, you need that good general manager to like balance out all the heels and also the bad general managers, or else it's just
Yeah.
like, as in like the EVPs, or else it's just like a dead end and you go nowhere with it, and you just kind of like, oh, it's just going to be them doing shit every week. And I love how they've made it so that it was the Bucks pulling an ultimate heel move and firing him, but then Tony Khan getting his own back and like instating him as the general manager. So it's keeping Christopher Daniels relevant and really turning that sort of story point into a real thing that actually matters. It wasn't just a cheap thing on Dynamite, just a throwaway thing to make the Bucks look like assholes. It actually
Mm.
matters, and
Which was a great segment in of itself,
yeah,
but then to bring him back, it just makes it even better.
yeah, exactly. And he's pretty good in the role as well. Like,
Yeah.
um, he definitely suits it. Like, just he looks the part, like, and he's obviously like this veteran, so it's like I said, it's good that he's like still in sort of a spotlight, but it's not overbearing as well. That's where general managers get
No,
really
no.
annoying, is when they do too much, but he's not doing too much. He's just there with a little sprinkling of justice, and that's what you need.
Playing it straight down the middle.
Mm.
Um, Not overly good to the point where like they sort of they kind of become a bit heelish in themselves as general managers, where they start favouring the baby faces
Mm.
in an attempt to sort of balance it, but then it's like they put the heels in unjustified situations, sometimes like making them defend the title in an unfair match um against someone who isn't as deserving. Then the heel would be like, this isn't fair, then they become self-righteous, and then that is
Yeah.
like a common sort of occurrence you'll see in those types of things. But he is just playing it straight down the middle, play by play almost. And
Like
it's
objective.
it's great. And he just came out and he basically just made an announcement saying that we're gonna have another qualifying match for the TNT title, which was Matt Briscoe versus Brian Cage. Like I say, Takeshita and Callis were onlooking. It was a pretty fun match. I really like Matt Briscoe, and I think yeah, for a ladder match, yeah, that's who you want in a ladder match. That he's just a great little clearly he's not going to win, but he's just going to be a great little component in that match. He's going to put on some great spots, and he picked up the win with the Froggy Bone, and it was a great little mix of styles. You had Brian Cage, you had the big man, then you had the underdog, and the sort of unorthodox fighting style of Briscoe. So it was a great little match as well.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good match. And just an interesting thing that I picked up on was commentary were like, um, oh, if Brian Cage wins this match, then he might have a chance at the championship that Matt
Mm,
Briscoe holds, like that. So I heard that and I was like, oh, he's definitely gonna win, or else why would they say that? Like, because they said that
yeah.
they've got a pay-per-view, I think, or a special event coming up. I was like, oh, they're planting the seeds for that, so Brian's gonna win. And then he didn't. I was like, ooh, you threw a sneaky one on me
Yeah.
there. I like, but I liked it. I was like, well, it, you know, it.
When he
You,
held that belt up at the end, though, it just showed that that belt just means nothing. And I'd like to say as well, with the AEW
mm,
sort of 2.0 little refresh reset that we've done, and with respect that I think, yeah, you can call it, they've tried many a reset, but I think you can call this a pretty decent reset. It's different roster, different people, different feel, different vibe. But I think, why not commit to that reset fully? Let's dissolve ROH. I don't know if we'll wait until we get the streaming deal. And then when we get the streaming deal, we're going to have the library, retire the library. But let's just get them on the roster. And I'm calling for a split down the roster. And let's have people on Collision. Let's have people on Dynamite. I just think that's the best case scenario. The best case scenario would be to have a small, consistent, rotational roster That would be best case scenario. But you have too many people signed, and I think a brand split is where I'm at.
Do you
Personally.
think? Let me just make sure I got you right there. You said dissolve Ring of Honor.
Yeah, but keep the tapes. And like I said, I think that maybe that's what we're waiting for, the streaming deal with a bit of leverage. Like, oh, we've got a few numbers. Dissolve it. If you want to keep it, have it just purely as a developmental thing, or just move those developmental people over to Rampage. That's
Mm.
that's your C show, kind of like what Dark was, and put the actual standout talents, your Billy Starks, your Athenas, Matt Briscoe, put them on TV, but then the roster is already saturated. So I'm saying to that, you're gonna have to do a brand split. It's inevitable.
Mm. Yeah.
You did a soft one, but just do it, because at this point, I just don't see that to me is best case scenario. Like I say, it's not my preferred version of wrestling. I prefer consistent, small, like early stage of Dynamite. But now we're too big for that, and you've already signed on too many people. So yeah, that's just where I'm at with it, really. And I just saw that title, and I was just like, God, it just means nothing.
Yeah, it's really
It
sad.
means nothing.
It's really
Because it's
sad. I
not even
mean,
new. Because when
mm,
something's new, at least it's got that small mystique of newness. But that newness has gone off now, and it's yeah, like I say, it's sad. It's nothing.
yeah, I wish. Oh, this is a topic we could go into on a whole thing, I think, because
Yeah,
Ring
yeah,
of Honor's got all this history behind it, and now it feels like it's just falling into the shadow of AEW, and it's kind of like AEW is like this, what's the word, like almost like a conglomerate, and it's just eating up this brand. It's
yeah.
sad. Sad
But
to
I wanted
say.
to
I wish
say
I
as
wish Ring of
well,
Honor could stand on its own 2 feet and just be its own
yeah,
thriving thing on its own.
about
But we're
Forbidden
not there.
Door, and this was another point I was going to bring up later, but I'll bring it up now because I think it links into your point of being a conglomerate. Is this Forbidden Door is not as exciting as other ones, the matchups and this monopolization that AEW has on the indie scene, and I think we're really AEW's never been better really in terms of the roster and the talent that it's got on it, other than maybe like early days, which was like the first sort of sweeping of the international indie scene. But yeah, it just shows like how everything is just bare bones, like Ring of Honor. And I'm not discrediting New Japan or CMLL or even ROH in terms of roster talent, or that people are on there and don't there's no one there. That's not what I'm saying, but it really has done harm. Um
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
made things like ROH and Forbidden Door run its course. Maybe because it doesn't have the same effect that it once did.
yeah. I think we should talk about this in more detail, but
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
so many thoughts, so many things. But you make a fair point. That when because I was waiting for Justin Roberts to say, "And your winner, the Ring of Honor champion, Mark Briscoe," but he didn't. He just said, "Your winner, Mark Briscoe," and then he held up the
Yeah.
title. I was like, "Oh man, why didn't you?" That should,
Especially after, like you say, like comms were attempting to like put it over that there was a stake in this match. I mean, obviously there's a stake in the TNT title shot, but a stake in that there was also the ROH title.
yeah.
Um, you know, it was kind of like a 2-for-1 title shot, really, for
Mm.
Cage if he'd have picked up the victory. But
But they only mentioned
yeah,
it
there is
once.
no consistency.
Yeah, yeah, precisely.
Um, so yeah, lots we could go into at some point. Wink. Um, Jack Perry then was watching this match, and he just basically put forward that he's still being victimized. He's still being unfairly, made to work for this title. He should have just been handed it.
Hmm.
Fucking nepo baby that he is. Um, then Joe and Hook. This were weird. This were fucking weird, right? I forgot. Joe's there in a Hawaiian shirt. There is no mystique about Joe in the way he's dressed, like just like a dad on holiday. It's like okay, he don't give a fuck, right? Hook's there snacking away, fair dues, right? And I quite like the pairing of these two together. Then I believe was it Tony Nese that came up?
Yeah,
Yeah, Tony Nese, and I'm so sorry. This must be a Ring of Honor thing. I watched Ring of Honor. Two other people. Do you know who they were?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Two NPCs came up with Tony fucking Nese to Samoa Joe and Hook. This is hysterical. And then like snatched his bag of sweets up.
I think they were crisps. Just saying, I think he was
Well, I thought they
pissed.
were Sour Patch Kids. I know he's like a crisp person, but I thought they were. It's snatched up his potato chips. And we're like, no. Like Hook was like, "You're a loser," and then like they just walked
No,
off.
hang on,
And then
hang on. Let me just. There was some beautiful details in this promo. Okay,
let's just you know.
Tony Nese was like, "When are you gonna start taking it seriously?" And then Hook was like, "When are you gonna start winning?" Just yeah,
Yeah,
just I feel like that was important.
it was. That was a great line, a great impactful line. But th- so then Joe is just really calm about it as well, which is really weird. He was like, "We've got loads of security about," and obviously that was a call to the MJF Rush thing, and there've been loads of security about, and they can't get their hands on it, and they know, but it was just like even his attitude was just like of a man who just doesn't care. Like I can't explain it. It
I
was so bad.
What I thought about was like he's like a wise father figure, and he was kind of like, "My son, this is not worth your time or energy. Just
Yeah, but
calm
he's gone from
down."
like a killer to like kind father figure in the space of like barely any time. I've got bloody whiplash. I'm sorry. I'm
It's fair.
sorry.
It's fair. Like it's fair
With
criticism.
Tony Nese. This was the world champion in January.
Former world champion. Yeah. Well, you got multifaceted characters. We like that about AEW, don't we?
That ain't right, that ain't right. Anyway, then we had moving on to some great another learning tree bit. He ran into Daddy Magic and Cool and Ange, and again, this just didn't really go anywhere. It was just like, oh, well, I guess it's a nice nod because they were part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. So I guess, yeah, like it's a nice nod in that element. But he was just like, oh, you're doing great, Matt Menard. You're doing comms for Rampage, which we love a small burial of our own product. And then to Ange that he's married, and just
Expecting a baby,
yeah,
just
but it just
parenting
didn't
tips.
really go anywhere. It would have made more sense for this to like set up the feud between. Not that it's exciting, but it would make more sense for like the former Jazz to sort of have like a learning tree thing. Because if we're going for Private Party anyway, they're low tier, on the card. So
Yeah.
yeah, this just had no and then like they just kind of like the Hook Joe thing, they just kind of let them say that and then they walked away, and I'm like, not that everything has to be like a
Fight.
backstage beatdown, but it's like fuck me, like we're wrestlers, like why are we just taking
Everyone's
it?
everyone's
Like
exceptionally
fair
chill
enough.
this week, aren't they? Everyone's just
Yeah,
kind of
maybe
like,
they're all stoned because they're in mile higher sea. I don't know, but yeah. So a little mix up, but then we had the Acclaimed come out. Caster's doing his rap. The EVPs cut the segment, and we're like, not only are we cutting your rap because you're speaking badly of us, but we're cutting your match. It made sense, and it garnered a bit of heat. But then you've also got to see it from the live crowd perspective of like you've given the live crowd nothing,
yeah.
and I just always just feel weird about stuff like that. Like
I didn't think of that.
it's just is that kind of like go away heat. It's clever, it's definitely heat, it definitely makes sense, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Or like when they'll be like, we're gonna do the match next week, and obviously sometimes they can't help it, but it's just I don't know, it's just awkward. It's just hashtag awkward. But yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
sort of sulked off. Then again, like they were chill. They were like, you see
They're like,
that? They
okay.
want us. And then just walked off. Like, can they have I just wanted somebody to just have something about them this week. Like, throw a chair, like, grab a
Yeah,
drink off a fan and throw it. Like, have some emotions, but no one seemed to want to do anything. No one wanted to work.
everyone's just having
Like
a
Kim
nap.
Kardashian. No one wants to work these days.
Oh, I mean, yeah, fair. I didn't think of it that way, but thinking about it, why would the Acclaimed not be dead pissed off about that and like be kicking off sort of thing? They just
Yeah,
walked
like,
to the back like, okay.
yeah. And we had another little Renee interview with Swerve. Addressed Max, and Swerve had signed the main event for Forbidden Door where he's going to go against Osprey. And I just wrote down, this is way before All In. And he also said that Team AEW should have had Swerve, and that's why they lost, which is, a nice little reasoning. Because the world title holder should be the best wrestler, and it would have been a game changer in that match. And it's nice, he cares about AEW, he cares about the brand, he's representing the brand as a babyface. He's like, oh, I care about Team AEW. But I mean, obviously, I had it in my head since the start of this year. It's going to be Swerve Osprey at Wembley. It's going to be Swerve Osprey, and I'm not like opposed. If they give me something just as good or better, I'm not opposed to it. But it's just weird because I think a lot of people had that in their heads that was the way they were doing it. So for Forbidden Door, it's just a bit weird.
Yeah, it caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it. Just seems very soon.
Yeah,
But
with not a lot of build up either.
no. When is it? Like end of June, isn't it? So
Yeah, and Osprey's already got a title, so I'm
that's the
assuming he's
weirdest
not going
thing
to
about it
win
for me.
at Forbidden Door. And again, like then it means Osprey's not defending his title, which kind of devalues it. Which that title has gone through so much from Cassidy, and then I think even Roddy added some prestige to it, so just like I say, it kind of retires him off, that title off, which is a real shame. And I think he will lose because again, it doesn't make sense for him to have both titles. And I think they probably will go for a match too. But then you're banking on quite a lot because I think it's going to be a banger. But how do you know it's going to be? Do you know what I mean? Like how do you,
Yeah, you
especially with
can't
such little
guarantee it.
build up, like
Mm.
it just seems like. And a Forbidden Door, wouldn't it? Don't you want Swerve to go against like I don't know, maybe it's like a contract thing, maybe they couldn't get anyone over, but someone else
Someone big.
internationally.
Yeah, for
Yeah, like
Forbidden
not
Door,
someone internal.
the whole point of Forbidden Door isn't it? It's meant to be matches you never thought you'd see because it's a Forbidden Doors, like, but yeah. I mean, and not all the matches have to be like that, obviously, but you would have thought like that's the direction they'd go
Yeah,
in.
I'd have thought they'd tried to get Ziggler over, to be honest with you.
Really?
Oh, Nemeth, Nick Nemeth. Yeah, like I'd have thought we tried to capitalize on that. I mean, I'm not saying for the world title, but I'd have thought Matt Cardona again, like
Mm,
just some other people that
maybe they will.
Steph Delander, like there's so many. I know I'm like there's nobody, but like there is people, and it's like you say, like I just don't understand it. I think it's gonna be a great match, and like I say, I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Yeah, because there's still some time. And it's pretty soon, but there's still a lot of time to pull out maybe some unannounced surprises, who knows? But yeah, we could still get your dream of Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, gimme like. But there's tons of talent, and there is some great matches lined up. I'm not totally burying it. But when we're going back, and we had like Jay White coming over, we had Zack Sabre Jr. Um, I'm trying to think as well. My brain is very shot tonight for some reason. So, um, but like we had some great matches. So it just seems a bit. I don't know. I don't know, a bit lackluster this year, maybe. got like Okada under your roof and like how
Yeah.
much of an attraction that was at Forbidden Door. I'm loving Okada in AEW. I'm loving his character work. But so many people, you know, are consistent. It's not only in Forbidden Door, but in weekly programming sometimes just as a special for Dynamite. It's and then how many people you've snatched up, it's just a bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still think you could do better than Osprey Swerve. I'm excited for it. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, there's time. We'll see the build up for it, but it's just a bit jarring.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And then we got a video package of Monet's match against Stephanie. There's going to be a title for title match. I really appreciated the video package. Yeah, make those because you know it's not like I can't imagine she's going to be coming over, before Forbidden Door. So yeah, give time to introduce this feud. It definitely has legs behind it, history behind it. Yeah, the strong title was made for Monet, and it's a key part of like her legacy and it interlinks with the Willow feud. It's really nice and yeah, Stephanie can pack a punch. She can strike. She got the grab. So and Monet can, as she proved with the Willow match. It was worth the wait. I think most people would agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that.
It's title for
And then
title as well, isn't it?
yeah, title versus
That's
title.
huge.
It is massive. And it's nice that yeah, like I said, they're putting some prestige on that through that video package.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So then we got the 8-man tag, which
Come on.
you
Come
know
on.
you
Oh
already know.
God. Like
You know the score.
this the amount because I tend to take my notes on my phone and the amount of love heart emojis, it's like nothing coherent. It's just love heart, love heart. And look, because a couple of weeks ago, like my partner Ian is not a wrestling fan, but I usually watch it and he's in the room and he'll watch it. His favorite wrestler is MJF, by the way. Um, he was
Great
like,
taste.
are the Blackpool Combat Club still together? I was like, how dare you? They will always be together through thick and thin, all right? Just because, you know, like Danielson was in Team AEW and stuff. Um, so for me, seeing them back together like this as the foursome, I was like, fucking love it. I'm here
Warmed your
for
little
it.
heart.
It does, it really does. Inject it into my veins. I loved it. And oh, Wheeler Yuta when he had that rose in his mouth. Oh my God. I just love him. Love him. And I love as well.
145 days.
Yeah, that's a long ass
They've been
time.
gone.
That's a long time. And skipping ahead, but he picked up the win, like he got the pinfall. Love that for him.
Which
That's
was
such a
really
nice
nice.
touch. Um,
With the
as well,
seatbelt
I,
roll up.
it was like sort of unexpected as well because it was that roll up. It was like, but it was so clever. It was like, yes, you've
Yeah.
learned this amazing faction. They're just 10 out of 10. I love how much time Claudio's getting to swing people on Dynamite as well this week and last week. I'm
Yeah.
totally into it, obviously.
As he should.
He deserves it. They all deserve it. It was very fun.
Yeah. So as you said, it was the reunited Blackpool Combat Club, which, like I said, they just looked great together. They looked rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Before it felt like they were just constantly thrown into programs, and not that they ever lost their mystique or anything, but it reset their aura, and it just reminded
Yeah.
you of just how
Sure.
great these wrestlers are. And Danielson, like he went on later with a bit of a promo on his losing streak. Mox has kind of just been sort of flirting about Claudio, just kind of flirting about Wheeler's been out. But just all together, it just recharged like the whole character, like all the characters. Yeah, and they were against CML's Belvedere Jr., Magnus, Rahido, and Esfinger, which were a set of luchadors and very athletic. It was a very athletic match. Um, it was
Yeah,
great. It
they
was
were great.
wholesome. I loved the moment of Mox doing the 10 punch count and he was just being cheered on by them. It was very wholesome, despite the fact that he was putting someone's face in.
It's a family. It's a dysfunctional, fucked up family, and they've got a book club. Did you see this like a
No,
few
I've
weeks
not seen
ago?
this book club.
The,
Enlighten me.
the BCC have got a book club, and it's like I think it was Claudio who said in an interview like him and Brian and Mox are really into reading books and like they share like
Yeah,
recommendations and stuff, and they try and encourage Wheeler to read, but like they
that's
try and
so
encourage
cute.
him, and they're just so wholesome.
That is wholesome. That is very wholesome. Is it you or is it Claudia that couldn't drink coffee?
And Claudio loves coffee. He's got an Instagram account dedicated to coffee. So
But it was
yeah,
some I might have
it
been
was
you and he couldn't
Wheeler.
drink coffee.
I
Yeah, and then
think
like I think it was yeah, so I'm thinking then he was trying to like get him to to like drink the coffee. It was very cute.
love this family. I wish they'd
Yes.
adopt me, but we're not going there. Moving on.
One Direction fan fiction style.
Oh my God.
You come home, your parents have just sold you to the Blackpool Combat Club. Can
Oh
you
my
imagine?
God. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
giving
So
me
just
some
great to see
inspo.
him back.
Yeah, it
Great
was
to
great
see
to
him
see.
back. And can't wait to see what they're going to do ongoing. And yeah, the luchador it was just nice. It was just like I said, I might seem like a luchador here, but with certain use and certain um, it was nice keeping that CML, like I say, presence on the show. And they had a great showing. And then we had the learning tree and catering, which was the shittest clip of all, may I add, because he just went in when this is how you scoop. This is when it became obnoxious. When this is how you put this in a bowl, and then that was it, and it cut so quickly, and I was like, what was the
Yeah, right.
point?
Going from the Blackpool Combat Club to that was the most severe whiplash ever. It was so just like what? What's the like you say, super obnoxious, then it just cut straight away with like no follow up. It was like, okay, that just happened. It was like a fever
Yeah,
dream.
like no payoff. Um, just did not need to happen. So then we got a Daniel Garcia vignette, and he dug out some random law.
Yeah,
Don't know if he's ever spoken about this before, but when he was 20, he got in a car crash during his way, I believe, to a wrestling show, or to like something wrestling
training or
adjacent.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, and was told that he might not be able to walk again. One of the photos, he's in like a wheelchair, which is
Yeah,
just
he
insane.
said he broke both of
And
his legs.
clearly, he
He was
rehabbed
fine.
that shit and he was fine. He can wrestle, he can walk. But god damn, like,
That was very.
don't you just love when they just do that in random things, just put out the most random shit. And it's just like, okay, trauma dumping,
That's not
like,
what I was just about to say. Yeah, just a
you
little
know.
sprinkle of trauma on there.
But it was great. It was
Yeah,
great.
good for building
And
that sympathy and good to get a bit deeper
that
into.
that's all it matters. Just what
Oh
can it give the
yeah.
product?
Oh, absolutely.
Good for building the sympathy. Not commendable that you came back. Great character work, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, no, for his match, I believe against Osprey. Yeah, and that he's gonna dig down deep um and go back to that 20-year-old version of
Hmm.
himself for that match. So yeah, it should be a great fun match. Like I
Yeah.
say, I've said this a few times, clearly next week he ain't gonna win. Um Although it might be nice if he does, because then it might open it up for Forbidden Door Swerve Osprey and make it less predictable. I would enjoy, and I believe he does deserve that. But then, what was the point in putting the belt on Osprey? Anyways, but yeah, it is nice. Daniel Garcia is great. But he's just one of those wrestlers that you can never really trust, because he'll come and he'll do something like this, and then the next minute is sports entertainer mode. I ain't mad at the sports entertainer mode. I'm just more bored of the flippancy between the characters.
Mm.
I'd rather you just commit to one. I don't care if he commits to the sport entertainer comedy type role. I actually don't like. I think that's fine. I think it's very entertaining. But it's like the edging of Willy Won't, and then it's like the boy who cried wolf, and one day he's just gonna commit fully to being that serious wrestler, and it's like
Mm.
the momentum's gone.
Yeah, it's
So
kind of
yeah,
just you just kind of want him to commit to one or the other, don't you?
so yeah. Then we had the Acclaimed, who grew up fucking pair of balls and went out to confront the EVPs after skulking off to the back. The books, but what happened during this confrontation actually? Because my mind,
The books were like just basically trying to tell him to go away, and the Acclaimed were like, "Well, don't worry, we're not here to talk." And then all we did was talk. And they
yeah, like there wasn't really much of a conclusion. It was setting up a feud.
yeah, they threatened the Young Bucks basically.
Yeah, but the Acclaimed act is tired. It needs something new, I think. It's kind of going off a little bit, but it just doesn't have the impact. So it does just feel a bit lackluster. I think if it had been like, a year ago and they'd have had that confrontation, the crowd would actually be like, whoa, and it's like they're
Yeah,
kind of like our sort of like I don't know, like our like baby faces are like we're rooting for him and but they've really lost the mystique. But I just don't know I don't have a suggestion as to how to fix it. Like I just don't know. Maybe like a heel turn, maybe taking Daddy Ass out of the equation. But I honestly just don't really know how we rejuvenate this act to get them to where they once were.
I think a heel turn will be a good shout, and because I'm sick of like edgy rap every week that's not really that funny, and then yeah, it's just the same stuff. And I think probably usually in this type of situation, a heel turn will do the job. It's simple. It's overdone in
Yeah,
this one, but it'll
maybe
be
they end
good.
up joining the Elite as like some kind of like bodyguards. I don't know. Then we've got like uh a heel tag team. I mean, I guess like the Bucks are a tag team, but like someone to sort of guard the that's kind of representative of the EVPs in the tag division because we kind of got that in like the mid card with the patriarchy.
Hmm,
So, but I
interesting.
don't know. I don't know. I don't
Something
know. Like
different.
it yeah. Who's excited for that? Clap if you care. Like fuck's sake. The Bucks then speak to the patriarchy. Christian asks for another title shot. They're like, we'll do what we can. Um, and basically the partnership is going to continue, which is pretty fun. It's pretty intriguing. I like the partnership. It makes sense.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, yeah, it does make
and yeah. Then Tony Storm came out accompanying Mariah May, who was against Saraya with Harley Cameron and Zack Knight, as well, Saraya's brother, and Tony was on commentary. Um, yeah, it was pretty good match. Lots of character work. Tony Storm was great on commentary.
yeah,
Calling
just so
Mariah May my child. That was a pretty standout moment for me, I think.
the standout moment for me was when she said, AEW is where the breast wrestle, isn't that right? And I was like,
Yeah,
that should have been our tagline. I thought that was
yes.
brilliant. Yeah,
Um,
she's so funny.
she is. And her and Taz always have like great chemistry, I think.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I thought Soraya had a pretty good match here.
Yeah, it was.
Like
I
normally it's
enjoyed
like
this
just a
match.
bit hitting I don't know. Normally, matches, especially in AEW, are a bit slower paced and a bit just generic. And I don't know if that's like because of like the neck issue. And if that's the best she can work, then I appreciate it and
Mm.
it's fine. But I thought this was a pretty good match.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I
Um,
thought it was as well. Um, it's funny that you mentioned Zack Knight before, like, oh yeah, he was there too. He didn't add anything to this. I don't understand why he was there.
No, they had him in the backstage segments, especially like the online ones with Harley Cameron, and he's sort of been there as well. I think it's nice that she's getting her brother involved, but yeah, he didn't. I think on commentary they said when the beatdown happened after the match that he was neutralizing Luther and preventing him.
Yeah, but a
But
lot of the stuff that he did was sort of, if he did anything, was like off camera. So
yeah,
there was no sort of focus on it. I don't know. I feel like he didn't add anything at all.
they need to just bring Ronnie Radke in. I think her boyfriend
Oh,
for
do
just
not,
ultimate controversy. That would
do
be
not.
so funny.
Don't
And Jojo
manifest that.
Siwa. These are my wish list
Oh my
people.
God. Them two, Ronnie Radke versus
Forbidden
Jojo
Door.
Siwa.
Jojo Siwa versus Tony Storm.
That's it. 6-star classic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it isn't hard to book a wrestling show. Come on, people.
What about
Um,
Jojo versus Ronnie? That
oh, now
draw.
this is that's like a Saudi match. That's like the peak of entertainment.
Yeah,
That would
100%.
draw. Yeah, Saraya picked up the win. She made Mariah tap out. And like I said, there was then a beatdown launched. And then Mina Shirakawa came out. She made the save, but then sort of squared up to Tony. Mariah neutralized that, acting as the peacemaker. Then they
Fucked
kind
it
of
up.
faded out with them sort of like kind of fighting over weird undertone vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like Tony Storm versus Saraya is a little bit lukewarm because it feels like it's been going on for a long time. It's like they don't
Yeah.
like each other, but they don't hate each other enough to go in for like a full blown sort of feud. I don't know. It's kind of like just
At least they're trying to heat her up a little bit though
yeah, yeah,
with
and
this
at
match. And
least
it
it's
was, like
not
I say,
been
a good
rushed.
match.
There was another thing
Yeah.
that they said on commentary as well. Um, Something about like Mariah May looked up to Saraya because she was like the first British female wrestler to make it big, and I was like,
Mm.
this is Layla Erasure. Like, are we forgetting about Layla and the fucking
Are we
Divas
forgetting about
division?
Cool?
Yeah, that's disgusting behaviour, but
Yeah, before you had Osprey to look up to as a British fan, it was Wade Barrett and Layla.
yeah.
That was all you got, and you were grateful for that.
I remember being a kid. Oh, this is just like besides the point. I'm being so shocked when I found out that Layla was British. Like, I didn't figure it out until,
What, not by the British accent?
well, I think it was when I'd sort of only just really got into it. I hadn't heard her to cut a promo or
You'd
anything.
only understood, your cognitive ability had been able to process accents at that point.
Yeah, right. And they mentioned it on commentary, and I was like, whoa, that's so goddamn awesome. Wow, amazing. What an inspiration. So yeah, I just think, we're just don't forget about Layla. That's what I'll say.
Don't you forget about Layla. Um, yeah, I mean, clap if you care. Just clap if you care. Is my conclusion to that. Some interesting stuff in there, like I say, but if you're hyped for me and Shirakawa versus Tony Storm, amazing. I'm happy for you. Clap if you care. Moving on. We then have the Learning Tree's concluding climax of a freaking
Was this
segment.
the fourth segment?
Yeah, this
Oh,
was the final
yeah,
one.
that's crazy. That's a lot of airtime.
Yeah. And said that private party should be public party. At this point, it was just like,
Daft.
and then challenged him next week. Like I say, not the acclaimed. Everything's just kind of blurring into one for me this week. But private party, which clap if you can. That should be the title of this video. Like, oh
Laugh
my
if you
god,
can.
it's like it's pulling teeth. Um, Fuck me. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Then we got a Danielson promo, which was very good. And
Oh
he
my
put over
god.
Yuta, which was very lovely. And he
Mhm.
talked about his current losing streak and essentially said he's going for the Owen, which
Yeah,
Lucy, as she said, is very excited about. Because
that's.
it could mean that he wins that and let's go, baby Wembley.
I mean, oh my god, the prospect of that and Brian winning the big one at Wembley, that's mind blowing to me. Like, I appreciate that there's people probably want to see other matches, such as Swerve versus Osprey, but that direction's kind of been changed now, and maybe to some people it's not what they want to see, but to me, that would be beautiful and amazing, and I'm here for it. And the way
Yeah.
he cut the promo, you can just tell that he means it. It's from the heart. And it's so emotional for him and for everyone in wrestling. Like, you don't want to ever see. I know he said retiring from full-time wrestling, so we're probably
Yeah,
still
sort of
going to see him. But it's
an Undertaker type
hmm
role of, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty hyped for the Owen. It's usually a
Yeah.
great little showing. Great, like, high stakes, and even if he doesn't make it, it's like you say, like, you want to see him, and it's someone to genuinely root for, and someone who genuinely, like, gives you hope. And in a tournament, like, you need that figure of
Mm.
someone who you want to see go to the end, because
Yeah.
it makes everything more high stakes. Naturally, as people progress, you're going to get that, and you're going to want them to win. But if you've got someone right from the start who you want to see go to the end, it's just a great thread. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah.
think I kind of fear that they might sort of go down the route of, if you either go full whole hog, like Brian's gonna win and he's gonna win the big one at Wembley, or maybe someone's gonna cost him in the Owen,
Nigel
and then
McGuinness.
oh my god, please, please, just let's just do it. Pull the trigger on that.
Let's just go. Let's
Maybe
just go.
if he costs him in the tournament and that's it. I mean, if if he's not in the main event, that's what it needs to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, it, even if he doesn't win, there's a lot of opportunity for a really great story to come out of it. So
Or, if we're doing the Osprey swerve, could it be that Osprey picks up his win against Danielson, which he didn't get to do in their previous match? You've also got that thread. And I
true.
imagine they'll be in the brackets together at some point.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah, there's so many different
So
ways you could
yeah,
go
the
with it.
Owen's going to be a great time. Maybe we get a hater return during this.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
would that be too much to ask for? Please, sir. Um, yeah, let's fucking go. Then we got a main event, Roddy versus Swerve. Like I say, we don't have that much notes for the matches this week. It was a great little match. Um, a typical Roddy Swerve. Their typical styles, their typical working style. Um, it was athletic, it was fun, it was great. Swerve picked up the win with the house call, and Roddy lost yet again.
Mm,
So I guess my main talking points that I'd rather talk about is what that loss means for Roddy, and how we're feeling about Swerve's title reign, because we're a bit far out from uh when he picked up the win at pay-per-view name Dynasty.
yes, that one.
Dynasty, plug that out for now. We've had another one since then, and we're going to Forbidden Door. He's defended it a few times. So yeah, I guess we'll start off with Roddy, because this is another loss after the Undisputed Kingdom was essentially dissolved and buried by Max. Where do you go?
I feel like we've asked this before, I think, about Roderick Strong, and
We did when he lost the international belt, but then he's lost again, and I'm just wondering what now.
yeah, I honestly I don't know. Maybe MJF pick up something with that, but no, probably
I don't
not.
think MJF wants to touch that, anything to do
No.
with that, with a 10-foot bloody pole until Cole comes back. I
Mm,
don't think he's going to go anywhere near that.
mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I feel like
Yeah.
this match was more of a attention on Swerve rather than attention on Roddy, and it's a shame. But what do you think? Where do you think he goes from here?
Yeah, I think there's like a few acts, like I say, like the Acclaimed, Roddy, where these new guys have come in and they've got mystique. Kyle O'Reilly, he's been on a bit of a losing streak as well,
Yeah.
but he still doesn't, like, he's still kind of got underdog rootable vibes. I
Mm.
guess because Roddy became heel, he kind of put the legs out from that underdog feel of the character. Now he just seems like a loser, and not in an underdog way.
Yeah, he's just literally a loser. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, and I agree. It's difficult because everyone knows
Yeah, it's
how
difficult.
good he is,
But it's like
and
with a lot of the characters on the roster right now, I think we really need to be having a good hard think, because this new swarm of talents come in. Some people are just absolutely killing it. Carter, Osprey, um, my brain's shot, but we've got a great accumulation of talent. Mariah May, Monet, people who have come in, rejuvenated the product, and doing the same shtick isn't gonna work. Like the training vignette, it was fun, it was classic, but with the loss as well for his character, I'm like, how much more do you have in the tank? How much does the Acclaimed have in the tank? Private Party, I feel like they've tried to reset that multiple times, but I just think I don't know if I necessarily have the answer, because I think the changes that we need to make are so radical, and
Mm,
so we really need to change shit up, that like Jericho's doing right now. Yeah, it was obnoxious. Yeah, it didn't work for editing reasons, but I think for a lot of this talent right now, it's sink or swim.
mm.
Um, and if they don't change it up, the fans are gonna grow bored. The shiny new toys, Tony Khan's gonna grow bored, and they will sink. Is where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely fair point because you come away from this episode of Dynamite pretty much with no real progression or anything memorable from Roderick Strong. He's just
Yeah.
lost another match, and it shouldn't be like that considering he wrestled for the title. So yeah, something pretty radical. I think you're right.
I don't know whether that's just keeping him on the shelf until Cole returns, and that's when all the momentum can properly come back. And
Mm,
I don't know. Um, maybe the Owen, maybe the Owen will do something for him. Yeah, we'll see. And then another thing I wanted to pick up on was Swerve's reign, and I'm enjoying Swerve's reign. I'd rate it like a solid 7 out of 10.
mm,
Like I'd probably rate this episode of Dynamite a solid 7 out of 10.
mhm,
But I think there's something to say that his character has suffered from the like almost like a sanitization of his character. I'm not opposed to the fact that he's kind of had a face turn. I think it's been great. I think it was the natural flow. He was that sort of baby face that people wanted, and he could never pick up the big one. And
mm,
David versus Goliath with Joe. It's a great story, but he always kind of retained that edge a little bit. But there just seems to be no edge like whatsoever to his
mm.
character now.
You you kind of at the moment in the transitional sort of bit between him winning the title and defending it against the next big opponent, and it's a bit difficult to lean into the edgy side of things when you don't have a someone to kind of delve into, and I don't think we've got far enough into the feud with Ospreay for it to get deep and for them to go into the nitty-gritty of him showing off his character. So I think that's gonna come.
Yeah,
But I understand what you mean
I
though.
hope so, because it just like he's just lost a bit of mystique, I think.
Yeah, well, I think being a babyface champion would do that. Um, yeah, like you say, it was natural for him to be the face because everyone wanted to cheer him.
But
Um,
then with Max, he kind of retained that, and I think that's kind of what Swerve needs to lean into. And I think,
yeah.
yeah, like a feud, you're probably right. He just hasn't had that feud. And if he has that feud with Osprey or Max and they're coming at him, he'll probably come back at them, and we'll see that. But I'm ready for it, is what I'm saying. Again, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
hate him. I think it's like solid 7 out of 10 right now. It's not, I'm not looking at him like I'm looking at Roddy Strong and the Acclaim, and I'm thinking, God, you need some intervention.
Hmm.
But I'm just like, I'm ready for some spice. I'm
Yeah.
ready for
We need.
some cheeky Nando's. Bruv. Oh, cringe. But
So
I'm ready
cringe.
for it, I'm ready for some sort for that sauce. So let's go.
I agree. I agree. Like it needs to. Yeah, it needs a bit of spice. It does.
Yeah.
We. I totally appreciate him being a fighting champion and
Hangman.
stuff. What?
Hangman,
Oh my god!
please.
Don't do this to
Please.
me.
That's how you amp that shit up, okay?
Mm,
You bring Hangman back.
so true.
But
So true. I just want to mention how epic the grandma was at the end with the swerve dancing.
yeah.
Love her. That is
Brilliant.
me in the future.
That is.
So is in the future front row. That pension going to AEW front row.
Well, we're creeping our way down at Wembley.
Yeah, yeah.
We're in the second bowl this year. We're not in
Whoop.
nosebleeds.
We're going up in the world.
Down, but up.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, 7 out of 10. Is that where you stand too? I feel like I'm
Yeah.
still being a bit generous, 7, but 7,
Well,
we'll go for that.
That's kind of where I was at. I was like, oh, that seems a bit generous. But
There's
then
some great
thinking,
highs.
yeah, there
Blackpool
was
Combat Club coming back. Max's
exactly
return.
thinking about that.
7 tides it up.
Exactly. Yeah, thinking about all that stuff. There was a lot of heart moments for me. So yeah, although it was a little slow. We lagged a little bit, but yeah, it was a 7.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit Forbidden Door as well. Like, the nature of it is that you do have to put some stories on hold, and it's like a
Yeah,
bit of a filler,
that's so true.
and it's a bit of an inconvenience in a way, unless you're really into, which we're not this year. Like we said, we're excited for the title versus title women's match, and we're excited for certain elements. Don't get us wrong. We will watch the pay-per-view, and if we can, hopefully review it. But it's not like last year. It's like Jay White, Okada, like these
Like
big
holy
money
shit, unheard of sort of
matches.
stuff.
Yeah, dream matches. And so it really does just feel like, oh, we've got to get this out of the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that's gonna do it, I think. Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
No, I don't think so. We covered
No,
everything.
just get yourself down to York this weekend.
Yes. Yeah, get your
And
tickets.
Liverpool the weekend after, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, next Friday, it's basically like a music festival mixed in with wrestling. So there's going to be a full Atomic Pro Wrestling show on the Friday. I think,
At the festival.
yeah, I think that's the idea. And then the Saturday
Yeah.
there's going to be an Atomic Rumble, followed
Ooh.
by loads of bands and stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, I think it's going to be an amazing weekend out.
Yeah, that
So
sounds awesome. That
if you're
sounds
not
really
in
cool.
Edinburgh for the WWE, that should be
Yeah.
the place you should be.
You know, if you're a real hardcore, indie fan,
You like
fuck
real
that.
wrestling.
Fuck WWE. We're talking real wrestling right now. Real graps. Yeah, get yourself down there and see Lucy, local celebrity. But yeah, that'll do it for this week, guys. Next week we will be back. Dynamite review, if we do it, unfortunately I'll have to miss it, but we're hoping to put out another episode or an episode instead of something different and unveil some of the things we've been working on.
Yes, 100%. So this is a good time to let us know if there's anything like you want to see from us, like if there's something like a bit different that you're interested in hearing us talk about. Now's the time because we're exploring sort of like expanding and doing stuff a bit different to our normal like formula. So got any ideas, please let us know.
The secret formula.
Yeah, what is the secret formula? Give it to me, Mr. Krabs. So yeah, subscribe and rate if you can on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube and
TikTok. We now have a TikTok account.
Yes, we do.
So please follow, and yeah, if you come here from TikTok, please let us know as well. We love to hear where people are coming from.
Yeah, that's really fascinating to hear.
Yeah.
If you could let us know how you found us. Yeah, hopefully we'll get the TikTok up and running. The account is made, not got any videos on it yet, so keep your eye out for high quality content.
Yeah, so leave your feedback. We always appreciate your support.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night, bye.
I wish you died in the womb.